Storm fans, welcome to episode 2 of the season 24-25 Let's Go Storm podcast. I'm here with Mike as usual. We've had 4 firsts for this episode though. Rish isn't on it for the first time, which is a big disappointment to his fan base. This is the first time we've had guests on from the Storm women's team. This is the first time we've had 2 guests on at the same time, and it's also the first time we've had a second member of a legendary basketball family on. So welcome to Lily, Frederick and Steve Darlow.
Good evening.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
So we're going to get to know them a bit better, get to find out about their basketball history, find out a bit more about the women's team, how the first season went, what the expectations are for this season. So Lily, do you want to tell us a bit about how you got into basketball?
I was kind of bullied into it by my older sister.
It's a nice introduction to the game.
Yeah. She used to play in the garden and made me play against her. And then she was like, you should play, you should come and play. And that's how I got involved, basically. She taught me in the back garden. And then I went to old Ipswich with Bernard Ball, the original Ipswich Bobcats back in the days. And yeah, we went from there.
I didn't realise we had another Ipswich graduate amongst the Storm family. There's quite a lot of them, isn't there?
Yes, there is now. Back then, there wasn't a guys' team. There was just women and girls.
Okay. Is that how you got? Was that first team you played for then? Was it Ipswich? Was it from junior level or did you go?
Yeah, no, I started at 11 and I played for them for the juniors. We had a very successful team. We went unbeaten for 2 seasons at under 18.
Wow.
And won pretty much everything. And then I played for the senior team whilst being a junior. And then I went off to high school in America on sort of like a scholarship thing. And then went to university in America on a scholarship. I only managed 1 semester because I went to Louisiana, which was not the best place for a young lady with short red spiky hair to go. I was told I was going to hell a lot just because of the way I learned.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't last long there. But yeah, that's my junior career.
Despite the short stay in Louisiana, did you get a chance to play much basketball out there? Or?
Oh God, yeah, that's why I was there. Our high school team, we won our district and we made it all the way to the state finals.
Nice.
So that was good. We played at a massive university. We played our final with about 8,000 fans. So that was kind of cool. But we lost with 1 second to go. Yeah, it was a bit of a close game. And then, yeah, had a scholarship to a university in the same town that I went to for high school. Should have gone elsewhere in hindsight, but
But yeah, again, to play in that final in front of that many people, that's still quite an achievement, though.
Yeah, and then the biggest place I played at when I was at the university, we played at Arkansas against the Arkansas Little Rock. That was pretty impressive. We had an absolutely massive stadium and we got whooped by about 55 points.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good.
All counts for the experience, though.
What about when you returned to England after you came back from uni?
So I was 19, pretty heartbroken because that was my dream. That's all I'd wanted to do for a really long time. So I went home. I played for Ipswich again. And then my sister sort of convinced me that I should go to university in England, and I ended up going to Brunel. Hey, Steve hates Brunel. although Mike is Brunel alumni, so you know. So I ended up going there, and I played for. So when I was there, I played for Thames Valley for 2 seasons.
You can't say that one.
Oh, I know. But this is before it was Thames Valley Cavaliers. We were Thames Valley Tigers in Bracknell. It's
Okay.
the original Thames Valley. Yeah. And my coach was Julio Politi, which I think, Steve, you'll remember him, right? Did you play with him?
Yeah, I didn't play against him. No, I think he was just
Didn't you?
before. No, I think he. Or did I? I can't remember. We're going back to the 80s and 90s now, Leo. I might have done. But what? Yeah, well, great player, Julio. Lovely.
Yeah, I
lovely
mean,
guy.
he only stopped playing a couple of years ago, apparently.
Yeah, yeah. He was terrific.
Yeah, so played for them. Then I played for Andrea, and I think I get a bit confused because we moved around a bit. I think we were Wandsworth, and then we were Capital City Academy, which is actually now London Elite, where they play.
Okay, yeah.
Played for Brixton for like half the season. Played for Edmonton, who then became Enfield Phoenix in Division 2. And then I had time out. And then I played for West Herts Warriors, which is where I met most of the girls that are playing for Storm now. And yeah, did a bit of coaching with them. And then that brings us up to
where we are
Storm
today.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice there was quite a big West Herts Warriors connection when we started announcing Storm. The pictures of the players the first season were all in West Herts Warriors kits. So
Yeah.
that was a nice little connection.
Well, because Hemel never really had a women's team. It was
Yeah.
West Herts were the originals, and then Oaklands came along, and sort of a few players went across there. But yeah, most of the girls around here came through West Herts Warriors, I think. I'm not an expert on the history, but all the ones that I've come across have come through West Herts.
Well, it's a good basketball journey anyway. So yeah, playing in American stuff, there's some good experiences there and some big teams in the UK as well.
I played for England as well. I've played under 16s, under 18s, and then I think I was about 17, 18, I was playing for the women. And then when I was at uni, it just got a bit much. So decided to not play. Yeah.
How did you find playing for England? Did you get to go experience other parts of the world and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I always say I've been to loads of places, but I've only seen the inside of a gym. Yeah, we went to Holland, Malta. I've played in Spain. We actually, when I was like, I think we were under 17 back in Ipswich. We used to do this tournament. I don't know if you ever heard of it, Steve. It wasn't just basketball, it was all these different sports, and they called it like a Junior Olympics. So you had teams from Suffolk, so it was a county thing. You had Suffolk, a team from St. Petersburg in Russia, Antwerp, Charleroi in Belgium. There was a couple of other places, and you all went to one of the venues, and you all stayed over, and so you had swimming, basketball, handball, all these different sports, and you had like a mini Olympics. So that was really good. Yeah, it was really good. We went to Rotterdam, was the first one, and that was a bit of a shock to the system because all the teams were really good. But you know, we made friends with everyone. Everyone spoke English, and actually, I went to a tournament in Rotterdam about 20 years later and saw a girl that I'd met when I was 16. I remembered her, and she remembered me, so that was kind of cool. So yeah, and I'm still friends with lots of people from America, and so basketball's been good for that in terms of, you know, getting to meet people and experience things.
It turned out to be quite successful after being bullied by your sister in the garden then, eh? It was worth it in the long run.
Yeah. Probably most of my friends that I'm still really close with now have been through basketball rather than like school. There's the odd one or two, but the majority of people is through basketball. A very tight-knit community.
Definitely, sure is.
Steve, over to you for a bit of a how it all started and then a little bit of a history of your career.
Okay. Well, it all started. I was inspired by a PE teacher at Allain School in Stevenage, a guy called Steve Cook, who got us into basketball. And he used to bring us over, get the minibus over from Stevenage over to Hemel, and we'd watch the Oval team back in the day. And that just absolutely inspired me. So Lil's father-in-law said he was playing for teams then. And you had the guy likes of Sam Smith and Joe Pace. I mean, some outstanding basketball players. So that's what got me excited in it. And then I went off to this place which is higher ranking than Brunel University, if I remember correctly, called Loughborough.
Loughborough
Yes, I think
Scum.
it is. Yeah, Loughborough. It is Loughborough. That's where I remember now. Yeah, so I went and played in Loughborough, and that was my best basketball mates were at Loughborough. We won the university championship in the final year, and I'll never forget that. That's the best experience I've ever had with basketball, because we were a bunch of mates and we did what we needed to do to win, and that was terrific. And then actually that summer there was an inter-counties tournament. I was playing for Leicestershire, and Dave Titmus was there, and he came up to me. He said, right, you need to come and play for. Would you like to come and play for Hemel next year? That was a dream. Absolutely, of course I did. And just a very quick anecdote. He said to me, "Well, you need to get fit over the summer. You need to be able to do 6 laps of an athletics track in under 9 minutes." Right? Okay, that's fine. So that summer, I trained and trained and trained, and the last one before pre-season started, I managed to get in at 9 minutes 28 seconds, and I was going out with Maggie, my wife. And I said, "Maggie, I'm not going to make the team. This is going to be embarrassing." And I trained so hard. So we got to the first Halton athletics track, put us out on the track to do the run. I was lapping people. I said, Dave, this is unbelievable. I said, you said no. Oh, he said, I'm really sorry, Steve. I gave you the wrong time. So I was exceptionally fit. But so I had a season with Hemel, with Dave and Mark Dunning, which was fantastic, because it really taught me about the game, playing at that level. And then we went up to the next league the following season, and then Dan Lloyd came in, and then we had a season with in what was it then, the Budweiser League. That's right, we had it in the Budweiser League there. So I mean that was fantastic. So I managed to sneak in a couple of few England caps in that point as well, playing up in the Commonwealths, Hungary and Poland. And then I got asked to go over to play over at Ware, and spent 6 years playing at Ware in Division 1. So with John Bonnell, John was on the team a lot there as well. Mark Clark was coaching us.
Oh.
So he used to we used to have our pre-game talks. So Mark Clark would be there. My dad always used to come in. He loved coming in there. And my dad would be sitting there with Paul Gardner. So I don't know Paul. What's his son's name, Lil? I've forgotten.
Lloyd,
who's now. Oh dear, how can I forget that? So Lloyd's now coaching Surrey. So you got. But Paul Gardner, so Lloyd's dad and my dad, they'd be sitting there smoking cigars while we're having the pre-season talk in the changing rooms with Mark Clark. So that was good fun. So six years with it. We won the Division 1 championship in '97, I think it was. And in between, and in the middle of that, I had a season up at Leicester as well with the playing, because a good friend Dave Roper, people may know, so Dave sort of enticed me to go out there and play for a season at Leicester, and then sort of from then on in, once injuries sort of got the better of me, it's been a case of just coaching lots and lots of junior stuff, lots of junior National League. I did Hemel Storm for 2 seasons. That was what now, 12 years ago, I think, 2013 season, something like that. When we had an all-British team, we got 3rd. That's my claim to fame. And then since then, I've done a bit at the University of Hertfordshire, and then a couple of seasons ago. Well, no, it wasn't. That's a season and a half ago. We were at the end of season do for the Storm, and Lil and some of the other girls ganged up on me and said, "Would I come and help with the women?" And yeah, because and yes, please, I'd give it a go. And they're a great set of people. And it's fantastic to be involved with it. So that's sort of my journey to get to where we are now with the Hemel Storm women's team. So coaching there, getting
successful
comments
one as well.
Sorry.
I said quite a successful one as well, playing for England and some of the things you did as well. It's yeah, it must have been a quite good growing up and going through that kind of experience.
Yeah, I mean the England experience was interesting. It was obviously it was a great experience. It was Dave Ransom coaching, and then Mickey Beck coached. The Commonwealth was good up in Scotland. Although I got in trouble up there because we had a night off, and all the England lads were sort of like they were playing cards somewhere or other, but I wasn't. I was in the bar with the Irish team, standing on the table singing songs. So the next morning, Maurice Wordsworth, people might remember, he came and said, "Steve, you can't really be doing that, I'm afraid." Okay, fair enough. But I think I outsung them anyway, so I'll claim that as a victory. But we won that year, and they got me something. Alton Bird, you've probably heard of Alton Bird. He's one of the greats of the game. He was the first. My first England cap was against the international might of Gibraltar, and it was Alton Bird who gave me my first pass to score. But then that last night, when we won, they gave me some kind of concoction, and the journey back down from Edinburgh the next day wasn't particularly pleasant. But I was a real athlete, honestly. I did look after my body, I promise you. I did. So
Well, the running
so
track
that's
story proves it. So you're all right.
yes, exactly, yeah. So that's the journey to get to the position I'm at now with the women's team.
We asked. I'm going to ask a similar question to one we asked Mike. Actually, obviously, Mike coaching alongside Mark, and as fans, every now and then you can tell when Mark's not particularly happy with how the game's going. How is it to be on the receiving end of that, or did you not manage to experience any of Mark's hairdryer treatment? Should we say?
No, because we never did anything wrong. I mean, we were. Well, it's a funny situation, I guess, because when we were played, we were a good group. It was a sort of like a friendship group almost. Mark was a lot younger then. I mean, we're talking back in the 90s. So he didn't really give us the hairdryer treat. I will tell one. I'm going to slander him now. When we were playing Cardiff away, and it was a really tough game, and they had a player. And so there was a little tussle in front of our bench, and one of their players reached up and he just sort of pushed Mark in the throat. And Mark just stood there for about 2 seconds, and then he went down on the floor, and this guy got sent off. I mean, it was pure chicane. It was brilliant, obviously, but it was pure chicanery on his part. Yeah, he should have been playing football, really, shouldn't he? He's not going to like me for saying that. I've landed him in it. But sort of Mark's a friend. It wasn't really sort of a coach player. It was a friendship relationship. I think it's a bit different now. So no, I haven't had the hairdryer from Mark.
No. What about, obviously, I know influences. Obviously, Lil mentioned your sister was kind of a big influence on you. Is there anyone in the game for both of you that influenced you, that or sort of like a basketball hero, if you will, potentially?
Lil, do you want to go first?
No, you go while I think.
It's yeah, there are the influences. It's the coaches. There's Steve Cook, who I mentioned, who got me into the game. Mark Dunning taught me the game. He really, really taught me how to play. Love that guy. He's now assisting Lloyd over at Surrey. It's great to see that he's back in the game. A chap called Chris Worcester coached us at Loughborough. So Chris, I think he was a Hertfordshire lad at some point, but Chris at one point was the most capped England player.
Wow.
But he was terrific. First time I met him, I had green tracksuit bottoms on, and he absolutely ripped me apart. So that relationship was good right from the start. But he was a fantastic influence. Dan Lloyd was terrific. Love Dan Lloyd. You see, there's a theme, isn't there, of coaches going through there. Well, the coach is a very important relationship with the player, and sometimes it goes beyond winning basketball games. So yeah, I'd say they're my major influences.
I like that. Lil, have you thought of something for yourself?
No, it was mainly my sister, I think, I looked up to, because she played for England, and she was really good. I liked Ronnie Baker. I was a fan of him because we used to go to all the all the finals, basketball finals. Remember, Steve, when they were at Wembley?
Yeah, absolutely.
Back when it was like Carlsberg, the league was sponsored by Carlsberg, and you had Cadbury's, Boost, Kingston. We used to go to them. So I think rather than one particular person, I liked Ronnie Baker, but I remember Alton Bird and Alan Cunningham and people like that. More the men, I think, than the women.
I thought you were just going to stick with point guards here. I thought that's where you were going. So I'm pleased you got Alan Cunningham in there towards the end.
Yeah,
I roomed with Ronnie Baker in Poland, and he's not a conversationalist, is he? He might have been with you. He wasn't with me.
No, I've only ever been around him one time, and that was when he took us for one session at Brixton, and I was a bit like, oh my God, we're getting coached by Ronnie Baker, and I was a bit in awe. But no, I agree with the coach thing. Like, I used to go to a basketball camp in what was the first one? Wellington College, and it was run by Mark Dunning, Titmus, and Tony Garbalotto. So they kind of instilled a lot of my fundamental sort of, not beliefs, but like the basis of what I think playing basketball, really. But yeah, I was glad to see Mark Dunning back as well.
And he hasn't aged, does he? He just
he
doesn't age. He's like a school teacher. They never age, do they? He's like one of those.
Yeah, and he had all these sayings at camp. So he'd say something and the whole camp had to say the response. Yeah. So he'd go, "It's a great day," and everyone would go, "For playing basketball," and things like that.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Right. That's the shout for Sunday then, this Sunday.
Yeah.
Please get the team doing that. That'd be brilliant.
Oh, we haven't got a say in that, have we? We've got Ellie's coming.
I don't know. Last week we were shouting "babes" on our team shouts. So.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, but it got us. It got us going. It got us on a 31-5 streak. So it worked.
Well, I say if it works, keep on using it.
Yeah. And what about in terms of outside basketball? What do you guys do from like a career or hobbies, if you've got time for any?
I do a lot of reading. I like learning new stuff. I do reading. I like reading films. I don't know. Life is quite busy. You have to squeeze stuff in. I like watching my daughter play football. Yeah, that's about all there's time for, really.
It takes up a lot of time doing the coaching and the prep and everything as well, I suppose, doesn't it? So it's not much room for anything else.
Not really.
Is your
not
daughter
in anyway?
Is your daughter into basketball as well?
No, they never really like, they didn't beg to play basketball, and I was never going to push them into it, because although basketball's been brilliant for me, it's also brought a lot of heartache, and I didn't want my kids to be exposed to that. So I never sort of pushed them into it. I never did the whole "come on, let's go and play basketball" thing. They played for a while, but my daughter preferred football, and my son he did football, and he likes bikes. So it just didn't really. She can play, and he can play, but we just play at home, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried to get her to come along to training, haven't I, Steve? I even fell for, if you buy me these basketball boots, I'll come to training. Didn't work. I got tricked on that one. She wears them for school netball, and that's about it.
I thought you were going to say you sent them back the next day.
No. She's still got them.
Steve, anything outside of basketball world? Apart from the poetry, obviously.
Yeah, oh right, yes. Well, oh dear.
We were hoping you'd written a poem for the podcast, Steve, so we could just chill for a few minutes.
I'm sorry about that. I should have done that, shouldn't I? Okay, well, maybe later in the season if you want.
We'll hold you to that.
Maybe you could do a halfway through review, Steve, in poetry form.
Thanks for nominating me for that, Leo. I appreciate that. That's great. Well, I'm a writer. I write books and plays and musicals, stuff like that, really. So SteveDarlow.com. Please give it a visit. You'll see all the stuff. If you like there, come see the shows, buy the books, anything else. I don't know. So yeah, I lose my mind doing that kind of stuff, really. So it's a lot of it's military, Second World War stuff. So we've probably lost the audience now at this point, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. But that's what it's about. So not non-fiction stuff. But the musicals are different. Have a look at the website. We've released a couple of albums. So
Yeah, we'll
they
check
were-
that out.
I'll put the website link out with the podcast as well, so we'll get people to click on it for you.
Lovely. Okay, great. Oh, good. What an advert that was. Thank you very much.
I think that's another podcast first, Mike. That was a shameless plug there from Steve, wasn't it? We've not had that before.
Yeah, it was shameless. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so it's good to get to know a bit more about you guys and your careers in basketball. So on to the Storm Ladies team then. I guess like how did it come about? Because obviously it didn't exist before last season. How did it come about? What was the process?
That was largely to do with Tom, actually. So the girls were playing at, well, West Herts Warriors had a team, and they'd pulled me back into coaching them. And Tom had just got back into coaching at Storm with Drew and Mike. And he kept saying, you should bring your team to, you should come and play at Storm, Lil. You should come and coach at Storm. Then we could be around each other. And Storm's never had a team, and it's, all this stuff. So he basically bugged me until I said, okay, I'll come over to Storm. And we put the idea to Tony, who was up for it, and then we held trials, and and then we formed a team. So I kind of left West Herts Warriors because they didn't really have anyone else to coach. So it was kind of I moved over to Storm, and then quite a few of the girls wanted to play for me, so they ended up coming across. Yeah. And then how we got Steve, actually, we were in the pub and Steve said, if the men win, I'm sure you said, Steve, if the men win all 4 things, I'll come and coach you guys.
Did they? Did I really say that? I would have sabotaged.
Yeah, you'd had a few beers.
Of all
You'd
the
had a few
seasons
beers
to say that as well.
Yeah.
Well, that's the funny thing, because I'd been saying all season to Michael Darlow, I'd been saying, I'm going to ask your dad to come and coach. I'm going to ask your dad to come and coach. And he was like, yeah, it will never happen. It will never happen. And then, Steve, you offered it up on a plate in the pub. And I was just like, yeah, done deal. We shook on it. And then when they won, it was like, well, we shook on it. So
That's not my recollection. I recollect it being pinned against the wall, with fingers pointing at me. It was great. I was really pleased because I hadn't been involved coaching for. I missed the game. I missed the people. That's the biggest thing. We've just Lil and I have just been talking about the history of the game and the people we've met. And if you're out of the game, you stop meeting those people. When you're back in the game, you'll go to a game in London and there'll be someone that you knew, and you'll talk about how marvelous the old times were, because of course they were, and better than they are today, and all that, because that's what you do. So I sort of missed that. So it was a really good opportunity to get back into the basketball community, to be forced back into the basketball community.
Of that, I mean, obviously, it's great to have you both for the team, but you made it sound quite a quick process. Was it almost at the start of the summer, right, we're going to get this women's team going, and then it was done and dusted for the first game of the season, or was it a little bit mid-season that the conversations kind of started?
Probably mid. I mean, Tom was in my ear probably from mid-season, going, you should come to Storm. It's great. And then I think for the ladies, it's nice to have a men's team as well. Just to go and support them, and then to come and support you and feeling part of a bigger thing. That was a nice thing that they'd never had really. So that was a bit of a driver, I think. Yeah, I'm going to blame it all on Tom. It's just in my ear constantly.
Well, I think, and then I think, Lil, you contacted me again in the summer, didn't you, and said to hold me to account. Guys, I don't do any of the admin or anything like that. I just help out with the coaching. And Tom and Lil have put this all together, done all the work to get it together. So it was just that summer, and then we got going pre-season with the players we got, bringing in another couple of players. But
So did quite a few players follow you across from West Herts Warriors, and really?
5 or 6, I think. Yeah, but then also we had some other girls who had been away and then came back and wanted to play somewhere. That's kind of a mixture of the two, really.
Did the trials, did you find some other players that you didn't know about in the trials as well? Or?
We had some of Steve's university girls come down, didn't we, Steve?
Yeah.
So, a couple of them became, or one of them became a practice player. But we kind of already, I think we already had enough people. Well, we had Deo, didn't we? She was of both anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tricky around here because you've obviously got Thames Valley, you've got Oaklands, you've got us, you had West Herts, there was Northampton as well, so there's quite a few teams all very close together, and there's Stevenage. There's not really a lot of girls players to go round.
No, I mean, you touched on Steve bringing some of the uni girls over. Obviously, I know the men's team has quite a big connection with the uni and players crossing over and stuff. Is that something potentially that could happen in the future with the women's team, or is it something that's already happening and it's just a bit more low level?
Well, in some respects, it has. So, Michelle, who we recruited this year, who's just come in, she had a great couple of seasons with me at the university, and now she's, it's a bit of a baptism of fire for her, but she's coming in and she's playing going to be playing National League for us. It's definitely something I want to foster, but we need to re-look at the university. It's not the same as the men. The men's program at the university is much. Michael established a really good program there in a recruitment process and getting people in, and they're playing at Premier. The university, we've got to think again about that. If we are going to do that, and the vision is going to be that we're going to link, it's going to be a 3-4 year process from now.
Right.
It's not ready to. It's literally not ready to go there now, because the men's program, there's scholarships available and they're recruiting internationally. We're not there yet with the girls yet. It's something I'd like to aspire to, but the fruit of that's not going to happen for a few years. It's something we do have to do because we need a flow of players coming through. But yeah, we've got a very good squad for this year. Very pleased. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead, aren't I? We're still talking about last year. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
To last season and how it went, what were your expectations at the start of the season, and how did they change as the season went on?
I think Steve would probably confirm that my expectations were probably too high. I was like, right, we're going to win. We're going to win the league. I know we can do it. And then we had injuries, and we had other teams that were new that year, but that were really, really strong. And we had venue issues. So we had about 4 different home venues last year, which means that you never really get that home court advantage because all of the courts are new to you. So there was a lot that went on last year. We're definitely a lot more stable this
year.
Yeah. But yeah, I think my expectations were higher. Steve, you brought me down to earth, didn't you, with that?
Well, yeah, possibly. But we did have. It sounds like making excuses, but we did have things go against us a bit. I mean, Emily's our top scorer, and when she turned her ankle against Cobham, that was a blow.
That was the first game at the Storm Dome as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that she did. That was the first game we ever played there. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I think it was the first quarter as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
and that hurt us a bit. And then there were other injuries that we were managing. But you have those in a team. You have to find a way around that. But we were managing other injuries. But it was a real learning curve last year as well. So some of the gyms we turn up at a gym and there'd be rain on the floor, and so practice would be disrupted, or we'd be practicing with coats and woolly hats on because there's no heating.
Wow.
Particularly the second half of the season. So the gods were conspiring against us. So we had a bit of a reality check, and then we thought, right, let's go for a winning season. We can get a winning season. We've got something we can market, and it was always an objective at the start anyway, sort of a baseline.
Yeah.
And we managed to get that. Managed to get the winning season, which was something to we can tell people about it. Hemel Storm's first season, we've got a winning season. So it's something to build on from there. And then as we start preparing for this year, right, we've got to sort out the training venues. We need to work harder on injury prevention. Lil's doing a great job with that already this year in our warm-ups and our warm-downs to try and mitigate against injuries. Tom's been working so hard in the background with courts and facilities and that kind of thing. So it was a real that really highlighted weaknesses, I guess, that we could work on. But what was great, Lil, was that we established a brand. We're here. We're Hemel Storm. We're here. We had a great set of players with great character who stuck together despite things going wrong at times. They really stuck together. There's a lot of good faith in there, and if you've got that foundation, then you can build on that and recruit where there are gaps. So yeah, it was a baptism of fire, but we came through, and you can't have rainbows if you don't have rain. So look at it that way. Sorry about that.
And
Lil's cringing again.
You've talked about some of the challenges you faced on that, which obviously make some of the achievements much, feel much bigger. What were your kind of standout moments in that first season?
Well, the last game of the season was standout. I mean, we had to win that.
Yeah, definitely.
We had to win that to get the winning record. And what, Emily hit 10 threes in that game?
Yeah, that was definitely a standout moment.
So I think that's the club record. I don't know. I've got a feeling it might be. So that was definitely a standout moment.
I think it it matched Jack's club record because we were trying to get her in 11th so that she could be have the record herself.
That's right. She passed it, didn't she?
Yes.
If I remember, she passed it.
Yeah.
She passed it to someone else who was open. Well done, Emily. You're a lovely person. Booked your place in heaven, but you're not going to get the record.
Yeah. Well, she'll just have to do it this season then.
Well, yes, please. Yeah.
That was a good thing that came out of last season, actually, is all the dramas with the venues and stuff. We ended up at St. Columba's, which is a lovely venue, and it's now our home court. And it is a basketball venue, like from back in your days as well, Steve, right? St. Columba's was a known place for basketball. So it's quite nice to have brought that back into things. Like loads of people around this area have memories of playing at St. Columba's. It's a nice floor, it's a nice hall. So it felt good. That last game last year was the first time we'd played there, and we probably played the best we'd played all year. Everything just felt really, really easy, and topped off by Emily scoring a million points. It just felt right. So it was a good way to end the season.
And do you feel like playing there now gives you that home court advantage that you talked about earlier?
Yeah, absolutely. Because even last year when we were playing our games at JFK, but we didn't even practice there.
Yeah.
So we weren't used to the rings. And then when we have games at the sports centre, it's absolutely amazing because you've got the crowd and the stands, but we don't practice there. So it's like being at an away game, essentially, in terms of knowing the court and the rings and stuff.
Yeah.
So with St Columba's this year, you know, we practice there each week. We're having all of our games there, so we know it. We know the court. We know the rings. We know that one end the ball takes longer to get through the net than the other. We know that there's dead spots around the key at one end. You know, it's that's nice. We didn't get that last year, so it feels a lot better in that sense.
Yep,
that's good.
It must be quite nice as well, obviously, knowing that you've got that bit of luxury now, but looking back on the resilience, the willpower, and everything that you as a team and people had to show to end the season and get past what you did, it must make going into this season a lot more comfortable, knowing that you can get through anything to put the team on the floor and everyone happy, really.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When we met this summer, we had a sort of list of things we wanted to work on, and one of them was the culture of the club. And we don't. And what I mean by that is a sense of teamness, togetherness, and because that gets you over the hard times. Because basketball can throw you hard times individually and as a team, and so doing social events. They're very good at social events, aren't they, Leo? They do
Yeah.
seem to excel at that somewhat. But that sort of, friendship, and then putting an arm around a teammate and looking after them. That when you get a bad call on the court or whatever, or things go wrong, then we've got some resilience. It builds resilience to deal with the tough times.
Yeah.
So there's a really nice culture within the team that does that, and we want to keep fostering that, keep the social side going. There's a girl who's just come to join us called Charlotte, who she turned up to the first practice, and she'd come from university, I think, and she had a T-shirt, and on the back, a T-shirt from university, and on the back it had social secretary. So of course she was recruited straight away. And, so I think we've probably got about 7 or 8 social secretaries now, actually.
I think she got a cheer when everyone read her T-shirt, didn't she?
Yeah. But I really value that social side of things and togetherness, teamness. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think a team, when you get on well together off the court, you play well together on the court. I think that shows. If you come up with 2 teams that are like evenly matched skill wise and experience wise, I think the one that just generally get on best and gel best together, they've got the edge there, and then they normally come out the victors.
And it kind of goes hand in hand with what they try and do with the men's team as well. So whenever we have Mike on the podcast and talk about recruitment, he talks about the people rather than how good they are at basketball, and what they bring to the culture of the environment plus the club as a whole. So kind of just brings the Hemel Storm piece in together in that sense as well.
It's a reflection of the club and what Tony and all the volunteers and all the fans do. That has to be integral with regards to the recruitment. Good, decent, honest people who are going to get on with the volunteers, who are going to get on with the management, who are going to get on with the fans.
Yeah.
And to date, that seems to have been working quite well.
You mentioned recruitment there. Was there much objections going into the season of the recruitment process you wanted to go through for the new season? Did you knew what you wanted to do before the season finished and the summer came in, or how did that all work during the summer for the new players coming in?
Well,
kind of a mixture, wasn't it, Steve?
Yeah, well, we knew who was coming back, and we wanted to remain loyal to them. Not just out of look, no one's there because they don't deserve the position. They're there because they deserve the position. We're not carrying anybody. So there were some gaps we needed to fill, and we had some trials over the summer. We had some good players come down. Couple that we would really have liked to got. Unfortunately, Lions picked us and took them. So Drew's daughter being one of them. She's a great player. We've filled all the spots, definitely. Even Lil's playing point guard again, which is great to see. But we've filled all our spots, so we've got a very good squad, and definitely a squad that we can work with. That's for sure.
Another big transfer in the summer was Tom moving across from the men's team. Lily, did he force his way in, or did you ask him to come in?
I don't know, really. We actually last year, I don't know if you remember, there was the very first game of the season against a USA select team.
Yeah.
And me and Tom coached that because
Yeah, I
Mike
remember
wasn't
that, yeah.
around. I don't know, Mark was off doing something. So me and Tom coached it and we really enjoyed it. And we were like, oh, this is really good. We could do this more. And so I think it just kind of came from there, really. Actually because we think the same on a lot of things like fundamentals, but then there'll be other things that we have different views on. And that's not different views that clash. It's like, oh, I've never thought of it that way. Like, for example, we were having a chat the other day about starting five, for example. He comes from a viewpoint where he's like, I think the starting five should know who they are and you've got the same five every time. And, it's something that they work towards and they've got to keep that spot and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, I've never really done that. I kind of view starting five as being a bit more fluid, where you might change it depending on who you're playing. You might want a faster five for this game, or, and so we didn't argue about it. We were just like, oh, that's a really interesting point. I haven't thought of it that way. So we kind of discussed like that. And I think we did that in that game. And it was quite nice. And we thought, oh, we get to actually coach together. Because when he was coaching with the men, he'd be in an away game and we'd be somewhere, and there wasn't any sort of times really when we were at the same place at the same time. So this has helped with that. I think that was
I suppose, yeah, it
also.
makes life a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
We actually did have one of the fan questions, which actually came from one of the players, was about how are you finding coaching alongside Tom. So I think you've obviously answered that one from there. But is there, how does it affect the dynamic now that you're the lead coach on that scenario?
I don't really think I am. It's not the way it's sort of working out. Because I'm playing, I'm more taking more of a backseat playing role, and Steve's heading up, and Tom is doing the filling in bits. So, but it's good. I like it because we've got three heads. We're all quite experienced, so we come together and produce good stuff.
And who's the one out of the three of you that gives the hairdryer treatment if it's not going so well?
Oh,
we don't. That doesn't happen. I couldn't do it to those girls. It would be the wrong thing to do. There's no lack of motivation with them. I've yet to come across a lack of motivation in any of these players. That doesn't need to happen, and also they're experienced players as well. No, there's no hair dryers needed. I don't think so.
Sometimes it's more just a case of girls, what are you doing? Wake up, isn't it?
Well,
I think if you shouted at if we shouted at them, it just wouldn't go. It's not. It just wouldn't be received in the way that we wanted it to be. I don't think it would be a motivational thing.
Yeah, we could express. We can say that's not good enough without having to shout at them, and and it seems to me so far that they get it as well. If they know if it's not good enough. Hang on, give us a couple more games and we'll see. Might change.
One thing I was thinking is how's the timeout dynamic work? Because obviously we see, I wondered if he's got it from Steve. We see in the men's game that Mike buys Mark a good 10 or 15 seconds longer per timeout by distracting the referee that comes over. Is that a Steve thing as well? Is it a Darlow trait?
I can see Tom doing that actually. Steve's doing the talking, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, we need longer because it takes me a bit longer to sit down and get back up again. So we need those extra 10, 15. Mike was very good at that, isn't he? You mustn't, hopefully there's no referees listening to that. Because the whistle will go and he'll go, ref, could you just clarify that? Oh, he does, he's very good at that. He's,
Yeah, he has mentioned that on the podcast before, and then quickly said, "Oh, I hope no one's listening." So,
Yeah,
but I
delete
wasn't
that
sure if that
bit.
was I wasn't sure if that was a Darlow thing or was that just something Mike did on his own. But
no, it's not. It's that's his own ingenuity there. Devious little chap that he is.
Well, while we're talking about referees as well, who is it that's out of the three that questions the referee decisions or gets a little bit annoyed? Like watching Mark on the sidelines is quite amusing at times, as was watching Drew.
Oh well, Lil's playing a lot at the moment, so Lil's constantly questioning him on the court, obviously. Questioning the refs. I don't know if we do. Tom does. I try and
Tom
establish.
definitely does.
I try and establish a relationship with refs. I know a lot of them, and I just find that be polite, question it. Don't that they. I saw a stat during the summer of FIBA. I think FIBA did some research into refereeing. I saw it somewhere, and referees make 10 to 12 mistakes a game. Okay, that can happen. I can get that. I can understand that. It's a difficult game to referee. As long as those 10 to 12 aren't all in favour of one team, we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, if they're split, okay, then fine. But if one team is just getting away with murder, then that's when I'd take exception to it. I would get angry if any of my players were in risk of getting hurt. That's when I'd get angry. But they're not. Well, they haven't been so far. Touch wood.
I think Tom will definitely take that role. He's already been yelling at that. Even when we had the friendly with no ref, Tom was shouting at the bits that he didn't agree with.
So Tom's on the list to get the first technical from the bench this season. Then
he got one last year, didn't he? Because he helped out one game.
In that one game, he got technical.
He definitely got a warning.
Oh yes,
he definitely got a warning.
Right, yes.
Yeah, because he filled in for you, Steve, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he absolutely got a warning. Said any more from you, and I'm giving you a T. And that was his first game with us. So watch this space. I think there could be a few.
So, talk about this season as well. Then, kind of, what are your expectations? What do you think the team's capable of achieving this year?
Steve, you got your 5%.
Well, we had last year. Maybe it's a bit gimmicky this, but we're doing it anyway. So last year we lost 6 games by 5 or less points. Wow. So 5 has sort of become a number that we're playing with. So we're looking to increase our shooting percentage by 5%. We're looking to score 5 more points a game. We look average per game. We're looking to decrease the opposite. I almost called them the enemy. Then I'm back into my right. We're going to decrease the enemy by 5 points. 5 points per game. So that's a target. And then hopefully what that will achieve is. So last year I think we had a 52% win record. So we want to beat 52%. That's a target for us this year. We want just get better. We've got less games this year, so we can't really do it in terms of wins. We'll have to do it in terms of percentages. And that's the baseline goal for us. Getting to the playoffs would be terrific. And then see where we go from there. Really, I'd love us to walk out in a playoff game. That'd be fantastic. But let's win the next game. That mentality. So that's the target, and have a good time, and laugh and socialise and tell bad jokes and all that kind of stuff. That's all going on as well. But Tony probably wants to hear that we want to get to the playoffs and a winning record and build the brand. That's the other side of things. It's difficult to quantify that, but Tom and Lil have been doing a great job with building the brand. Good training venue. Everyone's got scrimmage vests. The game days are presented really, really well. So people are going to start saying, "Oh, I want to go and play for Hemel Storm women's team. Or I want to go and watch them as well." So how you measure that, I don't know specifically, but that's a target for this year as well. Yeah.
It's all about the small marginal gains, which will make a big difference over the course of the season, and to have that. And I didn't realise that you'd lost that many games by such a small point margin as well, and that can be something that could be rectified quite easily with the right set of players. I think you've got that this season from what we've seen anyway. And talking to some of the girls about pre-season, and they're all quite excited about what they can do this year.
Absolutely, they've all bought into the target. They're all going for it. They're working hard in training. So I just hope we do it.
Mike, do you want to move over to fans, stroke players questions?
Yeah, we had a few questions from fans and players, and we like to encourage the players to ask questions as well.
Player questions. Hang on, there's a trap coming here.
I didn't know about that, Steve.
No,
this is
there
a
was.
trap.
We always
Apparently
like it.
they're
It's
all for
always
you,
encouraged.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
I will say they are quite nicer than some of the men's questions. I do remember we had a question from Aaron Rye asking Mike why his head was so big. So you've not got that level. So you're all right. You're quite calm.
Okay.
I'll do the two fan ones before you do the player ones, because the fan ones they're quite good questions. Someone said, how have you viewed the progression in the women's game over the last 5 years, despite its lack of media coverage?
Talking about in this country in particular?
Yeah,
or in
yeah,
general?
UK, yeah, the UK game for women.
I know we've got a much better Great Britain set up now, don't we? I'm not really the best to ask, and I'm not sure about Steve either, because we've only really got back into it in the last couple of years. So before that, I really wasn't going to any games, or I was quite out of the loop. But I know that, like in America, for example, there's a lot of really good players coming through, and they're getting deals with Nike and other, sports makes, and that's a game changer. Having our first women's shoe that we can go out and buy, that's been massive for the game. Like everywhere you go, people are wearing Sabrina Ionescu shoes. Even the men are. In fact, last year half of the Storm men's team were wearing the Sabrina Ionescu shoe. So that's been huge. But in terms of the UK itself, I mean, that can only have a knock-on effect, can't it? I know that having all the academies really helps, because back when I was playing, we played twice a week. That's it. So now you've got all the academies where they're getting to train every single day, sometimes twice a day. You can only get better from that, I think. Steve, I'm waffling now.
No, well, I've only really been involved in the women's game for the last 3 years. I coached the women's team at university, but that was 30 odd years ago. Well, I was inspired by the Lionesses. I know it's football, but I was really, really inspired by the Lionesses program and the football. I thought that was inspirational stuff, and it was so nice to see good, honest football being played as well, without all the nonsense that goes off and gamesmanship and stuff like that. I found that inspiring, and obviously Michael's now wife Georgia played Super League netball as well. So I'd go and see some of the games there, and the product that they were presenting, the role models that they were presenting was inspiring as well. So there's definitely been. This is a bloke talking, but there's definitely been advances, it seems to me, in the profile of women's sport, and as Leo was saying about the basketball and Caitlin Clark and that kind of thing. So long may it continue, and hopefully some of our girls, Leo, will be role models for young women. God, that would be terrible, wouldn't it? Really.
Social secretaries being.
Hang on, role models. Have we got any role models? Actually, perhaps edit that bit out. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I think it seems to be on an upward trajectory generally at the moment. So let's hope that carries on.
One of the other fan questions is a bit piggybacking on the back of that, really, and it's one of the Storm fans actually has a daughter that's quite into basketball, and I think is the case with men, or male and female basketball. Schools don't really kind of push basketball; it's all football, rugby. But is there any advice for young girls that want to get into it but they're struggling at school? Is there anywhere particularly you'd advise they go and look to try and get competitive action or regular training?
Well, that's a good question, because as a Storm club, we should have our own junior program, which I know is in the pipework, but the fact that people are asking for it shows that there's a demand for it. So let's get it going sooner.
That's another little plug. We like that one. We'll snip
Yeah,
that and send it
that's
to
a good one.
Tony.
Yeah, I mean, what opportunities there are now? I don't know. I mean, Fliss is doing some girls coaching, isn't she? So the club is offering something. It's luck, isn't it? I mean, I had a PE teacher inspired me. You had Bernard Ball who inspired you.
Oh, my PE teacher as well. He's the reason that Ipswich basketball club is where it is now. And
What's
I say that's
what was
because
his name again?
David Little, and I say it's
Okay.
because I bugged him,
Right,
and made him do basketball. So he then got a basketball PE teacher in, and then it all grew from there.
Yeah.
And then the whole club moved there. But I like to say it's because I was there playing basketball every day. Sir, can I go in the gym after school? Oh, thanks. And I was coaching the year 7s, and I just bugged the crap out of him until he did basketball stuff. But he was probably the first one over Bernard, I'd say.
But if someone's got a daughter someone's got a daughter and they want to play basketball, then that person become a coach and set up a team. Easy said than done, but do it.
I'll say we've heard of some of the challenges that come with that. So, but yeah, it's something. Again, probably could do it on another podcast, but I don't think schools do enough for sports diversity, if you will. Especially at my son's school, they get told to play football, and he wants to play basketball, and he's not allowed. So, but something that we should be doing more in schools to encourage different sports, I think.
I agree as well. When my girls were at secondary school, my youngest in particular wanted to play basketball, and they did a bit in PE. But then when I sort of quizzed, "Have you got a team?" they were like, "We did have a girls' team, but they were losing by 60 points every time they played, so we scrapped it," sort of thing. But it's not at that age. It is demoralising if you get beat, but it's the fun aspect of having a go at something you enjoy that's more important.
I think also an issue is like my daughter likes to play, but at school she has to play with all the boys and they don't give her the ball. That's a really basic barrier that needs to be addressed as well. Teachers just let it happen.
Yeah.
Get all the girls in the current England programs, give them scholarships to become PE teachers. In 20 years' time, we'll have loads more players. Long term, but I think that's what they should have done. They should do.
Yeah, something like that would helps grow the profile of the game and the sport. And there's some ideas out there. But like I say, I could talk for hours about the passion of getting more people involved in the game. But there you go. So on to some lighter-hearted questions from the players.
Oh, God.
And a lot of them, you'd be surprised to know I directed at Steve. So we have had I won't reveal the names just yet unless you bug me to find out, but we did have someone that said if we happen to win the league or the playoffs this season, would Steve dye his hair lily pink for the last game?
He said that last year. That's a done deal.
Yeah, I can't do it for the last game, but because funnily enough,
you promised it last year.
Yeah, I might. Yeah, the last game might be different. I might, because we might have to change it. I don't know, tell you, because I might be out in Denmark for that. But girls, if you win the league, I will turn up at the next session with pink hair. All right, there you go.
And the question from us: can someone photograph that if it's a training session so we can see it on social media, please?
Absolutely, we will be all over that.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
We'll mark that one down as a success. Perfect.
Yeah, but you obviously I should be getting technicals left, right, and centre in the last game if there's any chance of that happening. I'll be sabotaging that's for sure.
We have had someone say, "Could you let us know who the funniest person in the team is?" And Steve, you can't say yourself.
Right.
It's absolutely Steve.
Well, there's funny and buffoon, isn't there? Who's the funniest person in the team? Well, that's a really difficult one. They're all such serious people who take the game very, very, very seriously. They work really hard. The one who takes the mickey out of me the most. No, they don't. That was sarcasm. French takes the mickey out of me a lot. She's very good at that. Emily just laughs at me all the time. I suppose it's French, really. She finds a way of
French has got some good one-liners.
Yeah. She's formidable. She'd give it back. So yeah, Belgium wins that one.
Well, there is a common theme here because one of the players also asked, out of 10, how would Steve rate his own jokes, and how does he think we rate his own jokes?
Well, 10, and occasionally I turn them up to 11. You know, the jokes. The worse they are, the better they are. That's the point. That is the absolute point. There's got to be groans. Yeah.
But there was one joke the other day, and the entire team needed a further explanation before we got it. That the Shakira one, Steve.
Yeah. We've got a play we call Hip, and we practice to music sometimes. And I said, look, this is a really good, honest offense, so we need to play Shakira to it because the hips don't lie.
No one got it.
No one got it, and then Lil's,
no one got it until you said the hips don't lie.
Yeah. So then Lil's looking at me thinking, Steve, that was an explanation too far, which was fair enough.
Tough crowd, Steve.
Yeah, good. That's what you want. It's great. Yeah.
Well, they do seem to like your jokes, because the last question we had was,
oh God,
when Steve retires, can he publish his joke book?
They've already been published. I've stolen every single one of them. No, I can't. I can't actually, because Michael will be using them all, won't he? So, because he's never come up with anything original. He's always only ever nicked my jokes.
You can put them on your website, Steve.
Yeah, the whole website's a joke. Don't worry about that.
Steve Darlow.com was it? I think it was.
I think you'll find it is actually. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, we've got to be able to laugh, haven't we? We have got to be able to laugh. There's enough absurdity in life, so practice. If we can come away and we've had at least a laugh, that's good.
Yeah, I do like the theme that there was all about your jokes. So I think we've got an insight into how the training and the team spirit is there, anyways. But you got let off very lightly, Lil. It was all about Steve and his jokes.
Yeah. You did. Yeah. All right. I'll next podcast, Lil's going to get grilled. That's hopefully.
I'm clearly not as interesting as you, Steve.
You're not prepared to. You're not a buffoon. That's why. That's the thing.
There's one question that we've asked every guest we've had on the podcast, and we tend to get, 80% of the people say the same thing. What would you say was your favourite basketball movie?
I was discussing this with Tom earlier. Mine would be Above the Rim. I bet no one said that before, have they?
I think so.
That's a new one. Yeah, it's a new one for the list.
Good one.
To the point where I was trying to look for it on all the streaming services, couldn't find it anywhere. I had to buy it off of eBay for £3.50 on DVD, actual DVD, because I hadn't seen it in like 20 years.
I don't know.
It's gone on YouTube or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I've actually seen that one, so I will add that. Obviously, after I've looked at stevedarlow.com, I'll go and search that film and give that one a watch.
Do we have a top three? Because I think I'd close behind would be White Men Can't Jump, and then in third, absolutely has to be Champions, which was a couple of years ago with Woody Harrelson.
Oh yeah, that was really good. Love that one.
I love that film.
Well,
love it.
You stole my thunder, Lil, because mine was Champions.
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't know you'd seen it.
Oh, I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
the message at the end is spot on. It really is terrific. I love that film. I had Hoosiers, which is Gene Hackman, Indiana. That's old school.
Taylor Johnson said that one actually when he was on.
All right, okay. All right, in which case I'll change it. No. Yeah, Hoosiers is great, Gene Hackman. I love that. But Champions is it's just makes me blub, as they do. So
the best bit for me is where there's a few bits with the girl. When they're all talking about this, the best player and how they're all scared of them, and then you
Yeah.
find out it's this tiny little girl.
Yeah.
I like it when she comes out with the what she got, like a snowboard or a surfboard or something.
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah.
what are you doing with a surfboard? And she just goes, you do you and I'll do me. I think it's the best line ever. So now if people like question me, I just go, you do you and I'll do me.
Yeah.
Job done.
Talking of
Great
White
film.
Men Can't Jump, Lily, have you seen the remake that came out?
I
18
can't
months
do
ago,
it.
maybe?
I
It
can't
does.
do it.
No.
I started, there was one that was like it was a series as well, wasn't there?
Yeah.
You just can't replace Woody and
No.
You
and
can't.
Wesley.
I
No.
watched it just out of interest, but it's nowhere near as good as the original. But it never would be.
They tend
But
not
it was
to be,
still,
don't
it
they?
was still
Yeah.
quite enjoyable. But yeah, the original's definitely in the top 3 for me.
Mm,
But what
for
was
sure.
really good there is neither of you said the 80% answer, so that was good. Most
Which
people
is
say
what?
Coach Carter. Most of them say.
Right. So Tom said if anyone says Coach Carter, then they just don't know basketball. Something like that.
Okay, can we get him? Can we
Yeah.
get him to record him saying that, and we'll put it on Let's Go Storm just so the players can see it and stuff.
Do you know what? I'm going to record him. I'll say Coach Carter's the best basketball film ever, and we'll see what he says. But I know they're not films, but have you seen the ESPN 30 for 30s? They're like documentaries.
I think I have.
No,
They are amazing. There's quite a lot of them about basketball. Have you seen them, Steve?
No.
Oh, they're amazing. You should definitely check them out. They're not films, but they're better than films.
I'll give them a look. I'm always looking for new documentaries. I watched the Steph Curry one over the summer and stuff as well. So I'll put that one on the list. 30 for 30. I'll have a look for that.
Yeah, there's lots of them.
I love The Last Dance.
Oh, yeah,
I thought that was an outstanding documentary.
Yeah.
Getting behind the mind of winners, that was extraordinary. Because Michael Jordan is the best player ever, obviously. Start that argument off.
It just made me.
No one's going to disagree on here, Steve.
No, okay.
No, but didn't it make you think I would never want to play with that guy? Because what a
Strange,
horrible guy he was. Yeah,
Jordan. Yeah, I don't know.
He had a drive for success, didn't he? Which can often come across a bit aggressive at times. But I suppose you look back now, though, if you're Scottie Pippen or Dennis Rodman or Steve Kerr or any of those people that did win those championships with him, you might have hated him at the time, but the success you got off the back of it, I guess, might have balanced it out.
Maybe.
Potentially, I don't know.
Unfortunately, I didn't get that opportunity.
We'll never know.
No.
Probably one point we should have said earlier in the podcast, Mike, is good to get the better half of the Frederick family and the better looking and most talented male in the Darlow family on the podcast.
Did you just call me Mike then?
No, I was talking to Mike.
So I thought you called me Mike, which is the ultimate insult. Was almost saying then. Sorry, yes. I'm with you now. Dear me.
Yeah, we needed to get that in because we know Michael is one of the first to say when's the podcast ready, so we'll know if he gets to the end of it anyway. I think that about wraps it up.
I really appreciate you both sparing time, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you a bit about your journey and off court and all the amazing things you've done to get the team where it is today. So yeah, thanks for that, and we look forward to seeing what the future holds for Hemel Storm women.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both. Good luck for the season.
Thank you.